Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about on today's video, but anyways, welcome to the Mandalorian Season 3 reviews. The last batch of reviews to go through, I am going to, of course, talk about and, of course, review the last two episodes. Now, full disclaimer, I did mean to review last week's episode basically right around last Thursday. But what it basically happened was that I just basically got caught up in a whole bunch of other stuff. That's just how it was. I didn't really get to it. So now we're going to just talk about these episodes back to back because these two episodes go hand in hand with one another. It basically is a two-parter that's not a two-parter. We'll get into that, but wow. I definitely have to just say this is that especially these last two episodes, I think is the best of the season. Um, Overall, I think is the best of the season. I think that chapter 23, though, is definitely, how should we say this? It was definitely probably top tier Mando episodes of all time in this series' very short history. Of course, it only has 3 seasons. So once we get more seasons, which we'll talk about that, about more seasons if we're gonna get or not. But I definitely think that it's probably up there with the best Mando episodes of all time. But anyways, let's kind of go ahead and talk about these episodes. So after in chapter so basically after chapter, what was it, or in episode 6 of The Mandalorian Season 3, I felt very disappointed, but then it's a big turnaround when it comes to this next episode. And of course, what happens here is Moff Gideon is back. Good old Gustavo of Star Wars is back here. A lot of people love to use the Gustavo memes and all that sort of stuff for Moff Gideon. It's just, goddamn, Breaking Bad is just a, it can just spawn so many memes. It's funny, bro. But anyhow, so Moff Gideon is back. He's got his own little secret base. He's meeting up with a hologram of Elia Kane and all that sort of stuff. And we find out Moff Gideon was the one that sent those TIE bombers and interceptors to bomb the hell out of Bo-Katan's house or her palace or whatever you want to call it. And also, we all, of course, know Elia Kane is now in Legion, still with Moff Gideon, so she's still loyal to Gideon. But also, one other thing also to mention, too, was that they orchestrated the pirate attack on Navarro and all that sort of stuff. And now 2 different Mandalorian factions are aligned with each other. Night Owls, traditional, take off the helmet Mandos, and then we got the Children of the Watch, who of course are very traditional Mandalorians, as the helmet stays on, and all that sort of stuff. And then there's this little meeting with Gideon with a bunch of other Imperials. We get 2 big name drops. We got Captain Pelion from the Thrawn trilogy, and the seeds of Thrawn are being planted as we go, and it was really cool because of course, as we know, Star Celebration was like last week, and they're of course planting, or just telling us, oh yeah, Thrawn is coming and all that sort of stuff. Lars, who was it? Lars Mikkelsen, is coming to play it. And then we also got General Hux's father. I don't know his name, but there he is. So there you go. Pretty sure a lot of sequel trilogy haters are just cringing at the fact that the sequel trilogy, this whole series is leading up to the sequel trilogy, all that sort of shit. That's pretty much how they. That's pretty much how they are. Really, that's how they are. But going ahead though, basically, Moff Gideon's like, screw Grand Admiral Thrawn, don't know where the hell he is, I'm gonna do my own thing. And so what does he do? Well, he does a lot of shit, but we're not gonna talk about that here yet. And then so what happens next is the Night Owls make it to Navarro, and also chapter 23 was called The Spies. So they go to, of course, so they go to, they go to Navarro. They then, of course, basically team up with each other to take back Mandalore. Bo-Katan and Jarin are going to lead in a group of Mandalorians to take back Mandalore and all that sort of stuff. While that also happens, Grief Karga gives Mando some alcohol from all the way from Coruscant and all that sort of stuff. And then also, at the same time, they rebuild IG-11, but it's not IG-11. He's basically a big walking mech, big walking mech for the little Babu Frick guys. And then, Baby Yoda uses it and just spams yes, yes, and no. It's super damn funny and all that sort of stuff. I'm not being sarcastic. It actually is kind of funny. And so they go to Mandalore, in the Mando starships and all that sort of stuff, or the Gauntlet and whatnot, sort of have you. There's Paz Vizsla there, Bo-Katan, also, Din Djarin, Axe Wolves, Casca Reeves, all that sort of stuff, and whatnot, sort of have you. While they're on the planet, they encounter some survivors of the Purge and all that sort of stuff. And we get some big-ass revelation in this episode. And that was Bo-Katan reluctantly gave the Darksaber to Moff Gideon, who, let's just be reminded, he was part of the ISB. Those guys in the white suits that were in Andor, for any of you who watched the show. So yeah, Moff Gideon was part of the ISB and all that sort of stuff, and was basically wanting to make a deal. Well, Moff Gideon's like, fingers crossed, I'm gonna bomb the shit out of your freaking, planet. And then the Great Purge happened and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, the Mandalore was ultimately screwed and all that sort of stuff. And then, there's also a really good moment between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin and all that sort of stuff, which was really cool. I just have to say, just kind of overall, and whatnot, sort of have you. And then they're on this pirate boat ship with the other Mandalorian survivors. And what else happens? Well, basically, Axe Wolves and Paz Vizsla have a little bit of a dick fight and all that sort of stuff. But then Grogu comes in and says, no, guys, let's not fight. There's no need to fight. And of course, we all know where he learned that from. He learned that from Master Skywalker. So, what then happens next is they then, of course, head to the Great Forge, I think it was. Yeah, we go down to this pit, and then there's this big old monster that attacks their ship. They then have to go down into the caves, and then they're overrun by Mandalorian stormtroopers, which I think their official name are the Imperial Commandos. And their armor looks awesome. Yeah, damn. Now that is some sweet looking armor. And they actually are pretty efficient. I'm really not going to lie. So hopefully Andor probably taught all these Star Wars creators that, hey, stormtroopers are supposed to be aggressive, not as great as a Mandalorian, and all that sort of stuff. Not with, great skill or great agility, or, with not having combat skills, but they can still be pretty badass. And they still were badass. And so then what happens? We then realize it's a trap. And so we then find out Moff Gideon's base has been on Mandalore this whole time. He's been having this base set up with TIE interceptors and all that sort of stuff. And then, like I said, they're lured into a trap, which I heard a lot of people having an issue with that. And yeah, it does feel kind of dumb that they just fell for the trap so easily. I will admit, that was just kind of a little bit kind of like, you should have realized you're in an Imperial base. I'm like, wait, hold on. They're just walking through a hallway or like through a corridor. And then basically what happens is that they got Din Djarin all by himself. And then the Imperial Commandos, are basically have him pinned down. They have him strapped with his hands. And then freaking Moff Gideon shows up in his own Mandalorian cosplay. And damn, basically they took Moff Gideon. They took Giancarlo Esposito. They gave him a Mandalorian helmet, and also he looks like a Dark Trooper also as well. So hey, damn, pretty cool looking armor. And so yeah, and then going into the next episode, yeah, so they captured Din and all that sort of stuff. And then what then happens next is that Paz Vizsla holds off and basically says, hey, yo, guys, I'm going to sacrifice myself because secretly Jon Favreau is really pissed off with Kathleen Kennedy. It's just like, I'm out of here. But no, really, though, Paz Vizsla, like a beast, shades of freaking Captain Thorne from the Clone Wars, that shock trooper with the minigun, straight up just, shoots all the Imperial commandos, all the Mandalorian stormtroopers, and then comes in the Praetorian Guards. The Praetorian Guards, if you don't remember, were those guys in that weird ass looking armor in The Last Jedi that have the worst that were in the worst choreographed fight scene of all Star Wars. And then they show up, and then they just literally homies just showed up and just killed Paz Vizsla just like that. But damn. So yeah, not only do the Praetorian Guards, first of all, their armor or their costume design looks far much better. It looks so much better than it was in The Last Jedi. And yeah, they basically just show up and, well, yeah, show up like a beast and just kill Paz Vizsla that easily. And then we get into the next episode, which is titled The Return. And so this is the most recent episode, and this is the finale that just came out yesterday. So, yeah, okay, so so then what happens next is they have to, of course, now get off to the base. And I forgot to mention this, but Alex Wolves went back up to the cruiser to warn the other Night Owls that, hey, yo, we got to get out of here because a bunch of TIE interceptors and all that sort of stuff are going to come in and bomb the shit out of this Imperial cruiser. And it's not like a Star Destroyer and all that sort of stuff. So that's what happens. And then this is where it's just, things are just are like, what? So Mando is being dragged by the two Imperial commandos. And then he just knocks them out pretty easily like any other kind of stormtrooper. And to be fair, it was a bit challenging, but not really for him. And then Grogu just shows up. He's like, hey, yo, daddy, let's go ahead and let's beat the shit out of Moff Gideon. And then basically, Dan's like, oh, hell yeah, son, let's go and do that. And I'm basically just going to talk about what they do. So basically, R5 comes in to help Din try to get to Moff Gideon's command center. Pulls up the schematic, says, oh yeah, they're over here. And then basically he has to get down through this hallway and takes out all these Imperial commandos and all that sort of stuff. It's a pretty cool fight scene and all that sort of stuff. And then we then figure out what's the deal with the whole cloning. So from what it looks like, Moff Gideon has been cloning himself. So I guess Gustavo has been planning to clone himself so he can keep up his little meth business and all that sort of stuff. And whatnot sort of have you. We're not gonna have Hector come in and just, and just have the bell and just be like, and all that sort of stuff. My God, that face though. If someone screenshots that, I'm gonna. Oh my God, that's gonna be a meme. Anyways, so what happens is he makes his way through the hallway, gets to Gideon, and what happens to his clones? Well, basically, from what it looks like, I don't even know what happened because everything's just happening so damn fast. But the fact of the matter is that he kills the clones. Mando kills the clones, and then Moff Gideon then shows up and is like, you ruined my clones, and now I will beat the shit out of you. And then they have a big old Mando fight, them hitting each other like, just imagine that's metal, basically banging on metal and all that sort of stuff. And whatnot sort of have you. And then as that happens, the rest of the Mandalorians mixed with Night Owls and also mixed with Children of the Watch come down, and Bo-Katan with the Darksaber in her hand going down. Basically, it's the Imperial Commandos and the, Children of the Watch and all the Mandalorians coming at each other. And the thing about this episode, the one thing that I really love this episode is, the best part of it is the action scenes. I think this has to be the best action in the Mandalorian series so far. I think it's just the best action we've seen. It felt something like straight out of the Clone Wars, man. Just wow. And so then what happens is, the Praetorian guards then go after Grogu, and, well, then they become kind of stupid, and they can't kill one kid, all that sort of stuff. They could just blast him and be like, pew. Or be like, yeah, pew. And then, basically, now Bo-Katan is now one to go up against Moff Gideon in a, macho fight and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, basically, Din gets rid of the Praetorian guards and all that sort of stuff. And then while that happens, Moff Gideon goes up against Bo-Katan and all that sort of stuff. And then he crushes the Darksaber. Homie destroyed the Darksaber. And I was just like, okay, what? Just like, what? Like, I have very mixed emotions about that, to be quite honest with you. But let's just kind of continue on. Let's just continue on up to this moment. So, okay, so that happens. And then, then Mando then shows up and is just, firing at him like, pew, 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 pew. And then, Bo-Katan with her shield's like, putcha! And then Grogu's like, force push. And then they destroy the whole entire base. There's fire everywhere and all that sort of stuff. And then Moff Gideon dies the most stupidest way possible. It went out like freaking Captain Phasma. Like, how Captain Phasma just falls into the fire just so... He's just like, and then burns. And then Grogu is just like, force unleash, and then puts a fire, and then there's a big old ball around them and all that sort of stuff. And then we get to kind of the weird prologue of the episode. And so they take back the planet. Yeah, they got the planet back. And Olslak's Wolves, the reason why the big explosion happened is because homie literally sent the Lightspeed cruiser into the base, destroying whatever was down there and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just saying this, you better check if there's anything down there. But then again, they didn't really show anything, so it's like kind of saying, okay, so I think so it's like, all right, so they didn't show anything from the rubble or anything like that, like any post-credit scene, but so I guess they won. And then there's the living water scene again with Paz Vizsla's son and whatnot, sort of have you. And then the biggest moments of the episode is here, and that is Mando Din Djarin officially adopts Grogu. He is now Din Grogu. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And then Grogu then connects, and then there's and they're going down to the water, the living waters, where the mythosaur is right there. So, okay, so, all right, you're not going to do anything with that, okay? All right, I see Star Wars. But then what happens here is, well, they take back, Mandalore. All of them are gathered in one room, and they take back Mandalore. And then while that happens, then Mando then goes off to, goes back to Navarro and reunite. No, not to Navarro. He goes off to meet up with Carson Teba, while Dave Filoni is in the background and all that sort of stuff, being like, yep, you bitches better be ready for Ahsoka, because that is, hopefully it's going to be good. But anyways, what happens is that basically Mando says, yo, dude, I want to work for you, not full time. Then Carson Teba's like, I don't know if I can do that. But then Din Djarin's just like, no, I won't work with you. So yeah, I guess basically Din is now a hire for in the New Republic. So that's interesting. Very interesting. I wonder where he is in the sequel trilogy. I don't know. I don't want to think about the sequel trilogy. But anyways, though, they get a new memory chip from an IG droid that's just standing on top of the roof there. And they rebuild IG-11. Yeah. And then Grief Karga's like, yo, hey, you can settle down. I got a house built for you. And then, basically what happens here is that Mando and Grogu just, or Din Djarin and Grogu, just settled down. They got themselves a house. Grogu's off playing in the pond, and Din's like saying, "Yeah, this is gonna be pretty good." Episode just ends right there. So I have very mixed emotions about this episode. This episode felt really rushed. It honestly really did. They really easily could have made this a two-parter if they really want to spread out everything, because why was this final episode only 39 minutes? I think it needs to be required that a season finale needs to be at least 1 hour long. At least needs to be 1 hour long, I think. That's just what I think. And yeah, that's the end of Mandalorian Season 3. Now, I know there's already been a hot debate on this whole season, and I'm going to give my 2 cents about it. I do want to go ahead and just officially say that I still like the Mandalorian series. Season 1 and 2 really did get me back rolling into Star Wars again. It really honestly did. And Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni just really are out here, and everyone else. Deborah Chow, Bryce Dallas Howard, all the guys and girls that they brought on to this show did really. I think they still do a really good job, but this season did feel like a misstep in a way. I honestly I don't really know what happened to this season, why it kind of turned out the way it did. The season just felt very so. The biggest problem with this, just the fact of the matter is, they just kind of waste a lot of story. And it's only up until this final moment in the episode where really, where Din Djarin was actually kind of like of a character that kind of mattered, because throughout the whole entire kind of show, he was kind of a minor character. And so, yeah, and so a lot of theories didn't happen. The helmet didn't come off. Boba Fett didn't show up, which I can forgive. I think with this season, they were really thinking, okay, let's not bring in fan service characters and all that sort of stuff, which I think they did make the right decision for that. But yeah, the season overall, it is a really mixed bag for me and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, now we don't know if there's going to be a 4th season of The Mandalorian. There's no announcement on that. I don't know if they're going to just say, oh yeah, we're making a 4th season. Unless that happens, then, well, I don't know. But honestly, though, just to wait really kind of 2 years, or kind of 3 years for this, since 2020, it does honestly feel like a letdown. It really kind of did. Now, for all its faults, here's the thing, and that is, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna really kind of happen, because I've been hearing just all these rumors just about Jon Favreau not being happy with the Mandalorian and how Paz Vizsla's death, and I know I made a joke of it, but him killing off Paz Vizsla could be a little bit of a way saying, yeah, maybe Jon Favreau was done with the show that he created and really spearheaded. And if this is going to be the case, then I'm just really going to say this, there needs to be more, there just needs to be better people. Lucasfilm needs to have better people involved. At this point, just Kathleen Kennedy's not making herself really loved from the fans. Just saying this. And I know that here's the thing. Kathleen Kennedy, in the time she has been with Lucasfilm, I think she's a failure. She has failed to make Star Wars. She's really failed to run Star Wars. The sequel trilogy was a disaster. They lost money with Solo. And yeah, and now they're just out here just like making crap, honestly. That's honestly just the way it just kind of is. And when is going to be the time where where someone is just going to say, Kathleen Kennedy needs to go? Now who can replace her? I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't know, man. Now, the season I still enjoyed overall. Like, there were some bits and pieces that I still enjoyed, but damn, the season really kind of did feel underwhelming a bit. And now here's kind of the thing, and that is for shows, like just shows in general. Not every season in a show, like in a TV show, is going to be great. And I don't want this show to be canceled. I want to see what they're going to still do. I want to see the rest of this story be played out. And honestly, still, I really am looking forward to... I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. I think really, man, I just got to just say one thing about Ahsoka, and that is that show, Dave Filoni. And here's kind of the thing. Ahsoka pretty much needs to be a perfect show. Not only perfect for fans, audience, but also for the ratings also as well. In order for it to really succeed, in order really to get this... In order to get the Mandoverse, not only for it to go forward, but to also kind of have a satisfying conclusion when we get to the Dave Filoni movie, like in 2026. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much it. I'm pretty much not going to have anything else to talk about in terms of Star Wars for a while until the Ahsoka show. So we'll actually... I still have a YouTube series to finish. And I hope to finish it this summer. If you know, you know. It is high time that we complete the Spidey Cup series. So, there you go, guys. It's the end of the journey for now. And see you in the next video. Have a good night.